With the file set up correctly, we can now move to setting up our SketchUp program to be configured with the exact parameters for this class, making sure we have the most efficient setup possible. I'll double click the red SketchUp icon on my desktop. I'll be brought to a window that looks just like this. This is the start window, and the first thing you must do is to choose a template. Right now on your screen you should see a default template as blank. We want to choose a template at this point, so we'll click choose template, and I'll double click the very first one we see, simple template, feet and inches, and you'll notice up here that when I click it, it will change to whichever one I click. We're going to stay with the top one, click it once, and press start using SketchUp. The main SketchUp window opens, and it looks exactly like you see here. You have your menu bar across the top, and you have a toolbar located underneath it. Menu bars differ from toolbars in that they are made up of all words and not icons. This toolbar underneath it is made up of all icons, which if you move over and mouse for 1 second and let go, it'll tell you exactly what tool that icon is and what it does. But we don't want this toolbar here, so we're actually going to change this in our view settings. The very first option is toolbars, and it gives you a submenu of all the different toolbars that you can use in SketchUp. We will select more than one, but for right now we want to change the top toolbar and put it over on the left hand side. So to do that, I'm going to unclick the Getting Started toolbar, and you'll notice it goes away. Then, by moving to the toolbar menu again, I will select Large Tool Set, which gives me more tools over to the left hand side. We want to go back to the toolbar menu again, and we want our Layers toolbar, which you'll see pops up, as well as your Views toolbar. Now these toolbars can be dragged to wherever you want. We don't want to have them in two separate rows, however, that would make take up too much room for our drawing. So I'm just going to move mine over, and we have our toolbar set in a position. Now we want to go to our window menu and scroll down to where it says Preferences. You'll get a box of system preferences that looks like this. Over in the left hand column are the different categories that we can alter. Applications being the first, compatibility, and drawing. Drawing is where we're going to make our first change, and we're simply going to uncheck the continue line drawing. You will notice that was already highlighted, and that auto detect is the only other setting that is selected, and this is how we want to keep it. File extensions are okay, and now our File tab. This is probably the most important one we do. In this menu, what we're going to do is we're going to configure SketchUp to automatically save any file that you create into one folder. Which folder is that? Well, you should have guessed, it's the one you just created on your desktop called SketchUp Files. To do so, next to Models, you'll see a long series of folder names. This is essentially the file path or the direction that this program follows in order to save it. Right now it's going to a default save location, which we're going to change. Over here I'm going to click one time on this icon, and we've got a submenu that opens up. Now mine is different than yours because I have additional files on my computer, but the process to find your folder stays the same. What you want to do is you want to find all of the little black arrows that are in the left hand column and click them so that they all collapse. If you can't see any, remember you can scroll up or down until they're all closed. Now your computer, right about underneath here under your computer, you should see a folder that says SketchUp Files. That is the folder that you created your particular for your particular projects. So what you want to do, I'm just going to say this Stonebridge 7 is my documents I would want. So I'd select it and I'd press OK. You'll now notice up here in your models that indeed the file has changed and is no longer Stonebridge, or no longer default save location. And you can go back and change it as many times as you want, but we want to make sure we put it in the folder that you're created on your desktop. So if I scroll all the way down on mine, I'll see SketchUp, and that's the folder that you should have. With it highlighted, I'm going to press OK, and OK again. To make sure this works, let's go to our File button and say File Save. I'm going to write Test into the file name menu because I just want to see if this is saving properly. Now if you actually look up here into the directory, it says SketchUp, so you already know it's going to go to the right place, but let's try it anyway. The file is saved. I'm now going to close out the SketchUp and open up the SketchUp file that I've just made on my desktop. There's your test file, and you have now successfully completed the file path. I'm going to go back up into SketchUp and open the program, the file I just was working on. And I want to go back to Windows Preferences. With a couple more tweaks of our setting, we'll be all set to go. Under General, we want to take off creating a backup, as the files get in the way and get confusing as to which is the most current file. We still want to autosave though, but we're going to bring this number down to 3 minutes, which essentially means that every 3 minutes, regardless of what you're doing, your file will save at that point. Therefore, if you lose your work, the computer shuts down, or it crashes, you will be no further away than the last 3 minutes of work that you did. All of these additional check marks will be checked with the exception of software updates, and that will complete this window. OpenGL settings is very important that you have hardware acceleration and FAD feedback both checked. Shortcuts we're not going to use right now, but what they essentially are is they allow you to set a keyboard key to activate an individual tool, and they're customizable. So as you find you're going through the program and you want to make something more convenient for you, you could come to this spot and customize exactly what feature you want to a designated key. The template is where you could change the different templates within the program. And Workspace gives you an option to use larger tool buttons on the side, which is a personal preference, and you can change based upon what you feel is best for you. I'm going to leave mine at small. With these tweaks set, your program window should look exactly like you see here. You should have your test save resaved so that this is exactly how you want it. And now that these files are set up, SketchUp will automatically keep those settings stored so you do not have to do that again. And this will conclude setting up the SketchUp folders and program.